All right, the Prince and Princess of Wales have tonight issued a brief statement on the Epstein files. It's their first public comment on the files, which include numerous references to Prince William's uncle. The statement, delivered via a palace spokesperson, said, and I quote, "I can confirm the Prince and Princess of Wales have been deeply concerned by the continuing revelations. Their thoughts remain focused on the victims." Now, we're joined live from London by News Corp's European correspondent Sophie Elsworth. Sophie, until now, the Prince and Princess of Wales have been content to let the King deal with the Andrew issue. Why are they speaking out now?
Yeah, great to be with you, James. Look, they're on a 3-day tour of Saudi Arabia, and this statement has been released via a Kensington Palace spokesperson to try and remove the fact that this will cloud their tour to Saudi Arabia. So that by them putting out this statement, they are hoping that they can now move on and focus on their tour that they have just started this morning, James. But there is no doubt this disaster that continues with the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor continues. And just on the front of the London Sun today, James, this is the front page. Andy leaked envoy docs to Epstein. And this details very confidential information that he allegedly gave to the late deceased pedophile financier, again putting the palace back in the spotlight and concerns over what exactly was Andrew Mountbatten Windsor getting up to. He's a disgraced royal. He's lost all his titles, and there is no doubt this disaster that continues to unfold with the Epstein files is continuing to be a headache for the royal family.
Yeah, well, the King obviously took pretty strong action against Andrew early on with the titles and kicking him out of the residence he was in. How much do you think this has damaged the royals' standing in the public eye? Do they think the royal family has done enough to mitigate this disaster? How are the public feeling about this in the UK?
Well, there has been criticism that the King didn't act swiftly enough. Now, we know in October last year he stripped his a brother of the 65-year-old, he's a 65-year-old brother, of all of his titles. Now, there has been criticism here in the UK that he should have done this sooner. But I spoke to Andrew Lowney, who wrote the book on the House of York, and he revealed many things many scandals relating to the former Duke. And he basically said that this guy, this former prince, should be now under police investigation. I wrote about this in News Corp's papers on the weekend. So there is no doubt this disaster that has unfolded for the royal family is definitely putting the heat on them. And look, the King and the Queen are doing some great work here in the UK, but unfortunately for them, it keeps coming back to what was Andrew Mountbatten Windsor up to when he had these close ties with Jeffrey Epstein.
Of course, the royal family has been well acquainted with cancer in the last few years. I think you could probably argue that Andrew is a cancer on the royal family now, right? Is there any mechanism by which they can truly excise this cancer? Because the King is obviously now moving him off to Sandringham, and the thinking behind that, allegedly, is that it will try and contain things, because, of course, where he was previously was in public land, so he was being papped all the time and people were seeing him. So you move him out of the public eye, but is there anything they can actually do to say you're not part of the club anymore, or do they just have to wear this?
Well, Caleb, unfortunately for them, sending him off or shipping him off to Norfolk might not be the answer. Now, we saw vision of him last week at Windsor Estate in his four-wheel drive waving at the media as they were taking shots of him when he's under these serious allegations of misbehaviour while he was in close connection with Jeffrey Epstein. There's so many allegations levelled against him. Now, I must stress, he has always denied any wrongdoing. But some commentary here in the UK is really this guy is at the point now he almost needs to leave the UK. He is so disgraced and he is incredibly arrogant. All the royal commentators here say that he's so arrogant, he never thinks he has done anything wrong. But this relationship that he had with Jeffrey Epstein, which he said he ceased after he was convicted, that has proven not to be the case, has been incredibly damaging for the royal family. And it's very unfortunate for them because we know King Charles is battling cancer. He has other more serious issues personally to focus on, but instead it always comes back to what was Randy Andy, as he was described over here for many years. What was he up to?
Sophie, you mentioned the King. I couldn't help but think this statement coming out tonight comes just a couple of days after the King was publicly heckled as he was doing a walkabout. How much do you think that shook not only the King but other members of the royal family, that now they are being publicly targeted and asked questions about this issue? How much has that got to do with the release of this statement, do you think?
Well, they can't really control that, James. There's a limit to what they can control when they're out in the public space. And unfortunately for them, it's one of those moments caught on camera, the audio's caught on camera. It's very embarrassing for them. And there's a lot of shame brought on the royal family because of these allegations against Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So the statement from Catherine and William this morning is a move by them, a strategic move by them to put this statement out, give the media something that they can publish, and because they have not spoken about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, it gives them a statement. It's Monday morning here. And hopefully the media pack will move on. Now, not forgetting, Andrew's not the only person in serious trouble here. The Prime Minister is in very serious trouble, Sir Keir Starmer, over his former UK ambassador to the US, Lord Peter Mandelson, and his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. So this scandal is not just engulfing the royal family, it's also engulfing Sir Keir Starmer. And there is doubt that whether or not he may remain Prime Minister. So the UK has a lot of problems on its hands.
Yeah, Sophie, we may well be crossing to you later in the week to talk about the vacancy at number 10, the way Starmer's going. Appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.